Welcome to RMS Sales Training and Inspiration. My name is Rich Norton. I think you know me by now. It's great to be on the show. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a beautiful day. It's only 98 degrees today, but we're having fun here. It's fantastic. Life is great, and life just keeps getting better. We have a slogan that we always say, it keeps getting better, and how true that is. You know, a lot of times people will look at our representatives and think, okay, there's people that are just super successful, they're lucky, they're just fortunate, their life's just paved with gold, they have no challenges, no obstacles, no difficulties. The reality is that's not true. We all started out the same way, and many of you know my story, but I want to give you a little background. I came into this business in the year 2000. At that point in my life, I had gone through another divorce, and I was raising my youngest daughter, and at that point she was 2 years old, and I was pretty much flat broke at that point. I didn't even have a car, and I was almost homeless. That's how bad it was. Very, very difficult time, and I just left the business, an industry that was a dying business. Many of you know that I was in the encyclopedia business, had a lot of success in that industry, but it was dying. We saw the writing on the wall. I was hanging on by a thread. Somebody introduced me into this business that was in that business, and it was not with Retriever Merchant Solutions. It was with a different company. It was called First Savings Bank. And when I got into the business, the way they got me in was, how would you like to get into a business where everything that you sell, every machine, every credit card machine that you sell, you're going to make approximately $600 to $800 on. And you're going to get paid on 98% of them. They didn't mention anything about residuals at all. Had no idea what that was. But to me, that sounded fantastic, because I was coming from an industry where I was making about $700 per sale for the set of encyclopedias that I sold, but I was having issues with cancellations and credit rejects. So for every 10 that I would write, I would be lucky to get paid on maybe 3 or 4. So somebody telling me that I'm going to get paid on 98% of what I write, making $700 on an average, I'm like, sign me up, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to rock and roll. So they came down, and they actually flew down to Florida, took me in the field for about a day and a half. Didn't teach me anything about cold calling, didn't teach me anything about not much of anything, to be honest. They showed me how a couple appointments. They didn't write anything at all. And then a day and a half went by, showed me how to fill out the shipping information, the merchant agreement and everything. And I was pretty much done with training. That was it. And I'm asking my trainer, what about all these areas? I mean, do you cold call these? And how do you do that? Oh, you can do that if you want. Just tell them you want to save money on the credit card processing. So I kind of had to learn everything on my own. I got into the business, started selling. Again, no residuals at all, making pretty good money, worked my way up in the company, and started progressing, getting better and better. Finally, after about, let's say almost 2 years later, First Savings Bank ended up getting bought out by Nova at the time. And that was a complete nightmare. You talk about being disorganized, and I'm thinking in my mind, oh man, I'm going to be out of this business. It looks like I'm going to look for another sales opportunity. Thankfully, one of the representatives that I was actually working for at that point met Brian Campstra. And that was in 2001, 2002. And then I went to meet Brian Campstra and started working with Retriever Merchant Solutions. And then I started learning about residual, started learning more about the opportunity, and every year, I can promise you this is 16 years later, every year has been better than the previous year. Now, when I came into this industry, I can be very transparent with you. I owed the IRS $98,000 from my previous business, and I never thought in my mind that I was going to ever have that paid off. I tried doing offer and compromises, all kinds of different things. I was a slave to the IRS. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. I'm always going to have this over my shoulders. They're going to be calling me all the time. But here's what happened through Retriever Merchant Solutions. I was able to get that debt paid off, completely paid off. My wife and I at the time had severe debt through different student loans and other different credit cards that she may have had, and we were in debt. But through our program, working with Retriever Merchant Solutions and the success that we've had, we became debt-free. And then we learned about building wealth. And building wealth is really all about having a plan. And I remember Brian Campster saying to me, Rich, and I met some top representatives, top managers with Retriever on a trip to the Bahamas. And he said, see this guy right here that you just met? He's earning about $35,000 a month in residuals. One day you'll be at that point. And I'm thinking, man, you know, that would be awesome. But in my mind, I'm thinking, is that going to happen? See this guy right here? He actually makes $65,000, almost $70,000 a month in residuals every single month. You will be at that point. So I thank Brian Campster, and I know I'm on the show, and I hope you're watching. I'm sure that you are. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for believing in me, because your belief in me allowed me to believe in myself even more, because not only, and praise God, He gets all the glory, not only have I achieved that, but I've gone way beyond that. And I'm so thankful that I'm blessed to be a blessing. But the things that I've accomplished in this business have been just way beyond my imagination. Now, people might say, Rich, why don't you retire? You don't need to make money. That's true. I don't need to make money. I love what I do. And I love being able to bless other people. I so enjoy all the representatives that are coming into our business and that have came into our business and have had great, great success. And the list of names goes on, from Ronnie Austin, who was 8-9 years ago, to where he's at today. Rich Urso. I can go on and on. I don't want to forget all. You know who you are. Pete Long to Sean Benson, Jason Woodward, newer guys, Mitch Torbett, Mark Torbett. That keeps going on and on and on. And I get so excited to see the success that these representatives are having. And that's what I want to do, because I realize that I'm blessed to be a blessing. So am I going to retire? No. I feel like I'm just beginning. I feel like I'm just getting started right now. I feel I don't even know what I'm doing yet. I want to learn what I'm doing, and I want to take this to a higher level. So where do we want to be? We want to have 300, 400, 500 representatives all around the country working with Retriever Merchant Solutions, so we can help them achieve the dreams that they have in life. And that's what this is all about. It's an amazing opportunity. It's absolutely fantastic. And I look at this, I say, and you should say the same thing, if Rich Norton can do this, if all the other names that we just talked about can do this, I can do it as well. And one thing that you're going to find out, if you ask each and every one of them what the key to success is, you'll probably hear about some sales techniques, you'll probably hear about some things that will help you in your journey, but every single one of them will say to you, you have to go to work. They'll all say the same thing. If you apply yourself, you learn what you're taught, you will have a lot of success. Go to work. That's the same thing. That's the same program that we talk about. Just go to work and you'll have success. So I share this with all of you to say, I'm not bragging. I'm about as humble as I can possibly be. I know where all my blessings come from, but I'm here to help you, and all of our leaders within our group are here to help you at the same time. As a matter of fact, we're going to do a show today. It's called ABC. Now I want you to break out your notebooks, because it's always be closing. I know you've heard that before, and you probably said, I know that ABC program, always be closing. So I'm excited to be able to share with you about how to close more effectively. Let's take a short break, watch these commercials, and break out your notebooks and pens, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. Hi, it's Rich Norton. I am a board member for the Haven Horse Ranch in St. Augustine, Florida. This is a wonderful ministry that specializes in equine therapy for special needs children. What an amazing ministry. If you'd like to support this ministry, go to havenhorseranch.org, havenhorseranch.org in St. Augustine, Florida, and you will bless somebody and you'll get blessed yourself. Appreciate you doing that. God bless.
Hey everybody, Johnny Van Zandt from Leonard Skinner here with the sign of Hands and Feet. We want you to go out and donate. We want you to go see them. God bless each and every one of you. Support, support, support.
Amen.
Amen. Hey everybody, Johnny Van Zandt here from Skinner. Hey, I want you to donate to the Hands and Feet West Side Best side. There you go. It's where I was born at. Anyway, hey, listen, they're feeding homeless vets, homeless people, helping people recover. They're a good organization. Don't forget, donate to the Hands and Feet West Side. God bless.
Hello everybody, I'm Amy Gandy from Hands and Feet Foundation. It is a non-profit organization, 501c3, that my husband and I started 4 years ago. What we do is we feed the least of these. We help the least of these in our community and everywhere else if they want to come. We have hot meals every day from 12:30 to 2. After we eat, we have a Bible study every day. We have clothes, food. Once a month we have free doctors, free psychiatrists, a free optometrist, dentist, and these are real licensed practitioners. And we have haircuts on Mondays. We help people get into rehab and detox from drug addiction, life on the street, where they need help. We have homeless shelters that we facilitate with, that if they want to get off the street, we help homeless veterans get off the street, because there's no reason they should be out. And how we do all this, we do it for free from donations, volunteers, and from people like y'all. We would like for you to look us up on Facebook, Hands and Feet Westside. We'd like for you to look at our website, handsandfeetfoundation.org. Our address is 7478 103rd Street, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. The Bible says that when you have done unto the least of these, you have done unto me. Thank you.
Hey everybody, go to handsandfeetfoundation.org and support them. Don't forget, support, support, support. For the Son of Man who came to seek and save the lost. Luke 19:10.
Hi, it's Rich Norton here with Retriever Merchant Solutions. I'm here with my good friend Jason Woodward. We have amazing opportunities. Tell them all about it, Jason.
Not only do you get commission up front every single week and get paid on it, but we also make residual income. So let me explain to you what that is. My dad told me my whole life, no matter how successful I was in sales, until I made money while I was sleeping, I was not successful. Well, guess what? Residual income is making money while you're sleeping. So now I'm successful, and we want to help you be successful too.
We'll teach you, we'll train you. Give me a call, Rich Norton at 904-434-4635, or you can email, tell them the email address.
It's opportunity.rps@gmail.com. We want you.
Welcome back to RMS Sales Training and Inspiration. I hope you got your notebooks and pens out. The theme today, as I stated earlier, always be closing, ABC. And you've heard me say this many times, you really never lose an order in the end. The majority of the time you're losing it in the beginning. So when you first walk into the business, this is what you're doing, is you're closing right away. Whether you realize it or not, you are starting to close the merchant right when you walk in. That's why it's important that you walk in with boldness, with confidence, with belief in what you're doing, because that first impression that they're going to have of you is going to be lasting. So you make that great first impression, you believe in what you're doing, you're confident, and you're excited about what you're doing. If you do that, you left a good impression. And you've seen some of the other shows where we walk in and we have a nice flow to our presentation. So when you walk in, you get to know the merchant a little bit, develop a little rapport with them, and then you're closing all throughout your presentation. How do you do that? By asking questions. The person that's asking the questions is the one that has the control. You got that? So keep asking questions. If they give you an objection, you welcome the objection positively, you tell a story, and then you come back with another question, so you have the control. So have a nice flow to your presentation. If you're going over a statement, whether they have a statement or they don't, you're showing savings, you're showing them how you're going to help them. You want to find out about their existing equipment. Are they in a lease? Are they renting it? Is it their own equipment, or is it a free terminal, a so-called free terminal? Once you've got all that information, then you're going to talk about your equipment. So you've given the whole explanation, and the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to closing is what we call a summary close. So write that down. Number one, summary close. When I get down to the end, and here's where many people make a mistake, is they give a dynamic presentation and then they say, well, I hope they say yes, or they say, how's it sound to you? And they're going to say, Well, we need to think about it. Give me your card. So you have to give a nice summary of everything, and you have to take that assumptive approach. So when you get down to the end, here's your summary. So from now on, Mr. Merchant or Mrs. Merchant, whoever you're dealing with, this is going to be your new program. You were originally with this certain Brand X merchant company, and I showed you what their fees are. I'm glad I was able to review every part of that. Did that help you? So I'm asking questions. Does that make a lot more sense? And usually they'll say, yeah, nobody's ever really broken that down for us. Now we understand it. Well, I'm glad I was able to do that. That's what I like to do, is educate the merchants so we can help them save as much money as we possibly can. So this is where you were at before. This is where you're going to be at going forward. You see what I'm doing? I'm assuming. This is where you're going to be at going forward. I took you from that program onto this program. I showed you the savings. We're going to take care of everything as far as your old equipment, get rid of that. Got you upgraded with a new terminal right here. So this is going to be your new terminal. And you can ask some questions about that, get some good responses. And then this is going to be the program. And now we've just given a nice summary of everything. So going forward, that's your new program. That's everything. You explained everything, and at this point, everybody asks, what do I need to do to get started? So that's when you go into your closing questions. So give a nice summary of everything. Why are you doing that? Because you're making sure that the merchants understand everything. And once you've done that, then you go into your closing questions. Another closing is what we call the assumptive close. And we talked about that, assuming all the way throughout your presentation. What you want to do is you want to have the merchants visualize having our program already. And you're assuming, if you notice that I talked about that in the summary, that was your program then. This is going to be your new program going forward. This is going to be the new program starting out now. And you're going to use phrases like this: starting today. You notice I say that? So I'm making them visualize having it. Starting today. You're going to use phrases like, going forward, this is going to be your new program. From here on in, this is going to be your program. So use those phrases, starting today, from now on, going forward. Take control of that presentation and be confident as you're saying that. You were originally with this company right here. Going forward, you're now going to be with RMS WorldPay, largest processor in the world. That's your new program going forward. And I'm shaking my head as I'm saying that. So you're assuming all the way through. So the summary close I talked about, and now your assumptive close. Another thing that you're going to have is what we call the option close. Sometimes I know a lot of you are presenting the cash discount program, which is an amazing program. And for those of you that don't know much about that, it's very simple. And you don't want to over-explain that cash discount program. Keep it as simple as possible. From here on in, the program is that we're going to give you a sign, and you're going to put it up right over here. Where are you going to put it? Where would you like to put it? So I'm giving them that option. Where do you want to put that sign? On that sign it says all of our services have a 3.75% service fee, but if you pay cash, you don't have to pay that fee at all. So that's right there, and you're explaining it, how it works on the terminal. And a lot of times, if you're presenting this, excuse me, a merchant may say, well, we may not want that program. Will you give them the option? Either way, we're going to save you money. And if you're going to give them an option of doing two different things, let them know up front exactly how you're going to do that. Because sometimes you give too much information and you get down to the end, you've confused them, and they're like, well, really, we really don't know which program to go with. We'll give you a call. So let them know up front, before you explain that to them, I'm going to give you two different options. Here's the great news. This is a win-win situation. Option one, I'm going to show you, that's going to save a ton of money. Option two is going to save you money. So either way, it's a win-win situation. So when you get down to the end, if you're doing that optional program, it's win-win. So let them know up front, and then which program would you prefer, which program makes more sense to you. But again, make sure that you're not confusing the people or giving too much information, because that's called information overload. And when you get information overload, what ends up happening, a merchant says, well, give me your card, we need to think about this, can we call you? If you're getting that, that's because you gave too much information, called information overload. So that's the option close. Sometimes there's one that I wrote down here called the suggestion close. When you get down to the end and you've got so much confidence, you build a rapport with the merchant, you can say, I suggest that we go along with this program right here. So very simple. You know, you're just using good phrases that are going to help you close that merchant. The other one, you know, this could be good. It's the urgent close. You know, sometimes it can be a little pressure, so you got to be careful with that. But you're creating urgency, the importance of taking advantage of the opportunity right now. And that's done throughout your whole presentation. Sometimes you have to explain to a merchant that, look, my business, I am so busy, I'm helping so many merchants. I'm not out here to chase merchants down or try to convince people to do what we're doing. We know we have a great program. We know we have a great company. We know what we're doing is fantastic. I'm in different areas all the time. I hate to miss out, have a merchant miss out on this opportunity that I'm explaining to them because I didn't have a chance to stop by. So when I get to this point, every merchant says to me, Rich, this is a no-brainer. What do I need to do to get started? So that's the urgency close, I call it. So you have to create some urgency when you're giving your presentation, when you're getting down to the end. The other one, you've heard this phone a friend. And this will help you too, all right? I call this phone a manager. You get down to the end and you find that you might have a little bit of issues closing them. Or maybe the price isn't right, or you need a little bit of help, or you need a little help from a professional. So what you want to do, you get a commitment from the merchant. This is done in car sales all the time. All part of their presentation. You get down to the end, you explain it, and they say, well, I don't know if I would do it for that. You know, is there anything better that you can do? They're asking. So, okay, if I was able to get it at this point, this part right here, and lower this part right here, I can't get that approval, but I know somebody that can. And I hope I catch him in a good mood right now, or her in a good mood. But if I'm able to do that, are you definitely 100% ready to take advantage of it today? Got the commitment from them. You call up and you have about 3 or 4 different people that you can call, because I know a lot of our representatives are busy. You give them a call and you just call me. Hey Rich, I got this merchant right here. I'm explaining it to them. If you can do it, they love the program, but they're a little unsure about this. Would you be able to do this for that merchant? I'll ask you a couple questions, and 99.9% of the time I'll say, go ahead and do it. You get off the phone, I think I caught him in a good mood. I got great news. We're going to be able to do that for that program. So I'm glad you brought that up. So congratulations. You're not saying thank you. You're saying congratulations. We're going to be able to do business today. And there you go, and you start breaking out your paperwork. So that's called the phone a manager close, all right? Kind of like phone a friend from that old game show. The final thing I want to talk about is something that will help you is when a merchant says we have to think about it. And you've all heard that, or I need to talk to a family member, or I need to talk to my partner. You don't want to get on the defense when they're doing that. Whatever they say, whatever objection that they give, you want to say, I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that you said that. That's really important because I feel the same way. When you get to that closing part, you can say, when I get to this point, everybody says, this is a no-brainer. What do I need to do to take advantage of it? And sometimes you're going over it and going over it and going over it, and they say, we just have to think about it, or I have to talk to my partner. Welcome that objection. But then you come back a little bit and you say to the merchant, say, look, everybody when I get to this point tells me it's a no-brainer. Obviously, I showed you the savings. I'm sure when you talk to your wife or your partner or whoever it may be, and you say, hey, we're going to save about $150 a month, and they're going to give us this excellent program, I'm quite confident they're not going to say, no way, we don't want to save money at all. So laugh. Get them laughing a little bit as you're doing that. But I showed you the savings. I showed you the program. I'm sure your business partner or your wife is not going to mind you saving money at all. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm in different areas all the time, and I'm not in the business of chasing people down or trying to convince people. I know I showed you the savings. You know it's World Pay, A+ rated, Better Business Bureau. I showed you the program. I showed you the equipment. We're going to handle everything. We're going to take care of everything. I showed you the statement. I showed you the savings. So obviously it's a no-brainer. Here's what I'm going to do for you, and I'm sure it's going to make sense to you. I'll put everything in writing, word for word, the way I explained it. There is no money up front. We don't collect any money at all. There's no setup fee, no startup fee at all. All I'm going to need from you today is a check. You're going to write void on it. I'm going to fill everything out so you have everything in writing, word for word, exactly the way that I explained it, and you will get copies of it today at the same time. I'm sure your partner's not going to mind saving money at all, but here's what I'll do, because I've done this for many, many other businesses. I'll be happy to do it for you at the same time. The equipment will get here in 2 days. Office will call you. They'll walk you through plugging it in, showing you how to use it. If between now and then you decide that for some crazy reason you don't want to save money, or your wife says, I don't want to save money at all, I'll just mark it null and void, and we won't even set up the equipment at all. Does that sound fair enough? That saves you time. That saves me a lot of time, and I'm sure that makes a lot of sense. I'd be willing to do that for you. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, I think we can do that. Then you start breaking out the paperwork, and then you're going to find, as you're breaking out that paperwork and you're getting all the answers to the questions, where do you want it shipped, date of birth, social, tax ID, how much, so now they're answering all the questions, and you're getting more and more commitments, and just about every single time they're going to say, you know what, just go ahead and submit it. We're good. You're right. We're ready to go. We're ready to start saving money. Or they may not even bring it up at all, and when they get down to the end, they'll start asking questions like, what do we need to do? How do we, when are we getting this equipment? Okay, you're going to handle everything else. So 99% of the time, they may even not talk to their partner at all, because they knew and already know that this is a right investment, a right program to do. So that will help you when you get to the I have to think about it. I've done that many, many, many times, and it's been very rare. I could probably count on 1 or 2 fingers where I lost the deal. But all the times that I've done that, I just did that yesterday, as a matter of fact, wrote the merchant up. They're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. We're ready to sign. We're ready to make it happen. So that's the think about it, and that, I'm sure that helps you also. So understanding that when you're doing closing, you're closing all the way throughout your presentation. Just like I said from the beginning, make sure that you have a flow to your presentation. Make sure you're not all over the map. Nice and simple. Keep it simple. And I know there's so many different presentations that are out there. I know there's so many different styles that are out there. But just make sure that you got a nice flow, you got a great opener. When you get through that opener, get to know the merchants a little bit, sell yourself, get a good rapport going with the merchant, go through your book, build up your company, who you are, sell your company, make sure they have confidence in your company like you have confidence as well. We're World Pay, been around a long time, #1 processor in the world. This is who we are. Make sure you're explaining that equipment, and make sure that they visualize having that program already. And you can ask questions like, where do you want to keep the equipment? Do you want to use it in the same spot? Or here's a prime example. If you're using they have it on a phone line, right? Do you guys have Wi-Fi here? Yeah, we do. Well, this new program right here uses Wi-Fi, which a lot of merchants that we're helping out, they absolutely love that. Do you think you'd prefer to do that better? Would that be better for you? Is that the way you'd want to do it with this? Oh, yeah. So now you're getting commitment questions. So all the way through, you're assuming, you do a summary, you do those final closing questions, and then when you get down to the end, before you do that, at this point, every merchant says, Rich, this is a no-brainer. What do I need to do to get started with this program? Have a nice flow. Use those closing techniques that I told you about, and you will have a lot of success. So I'm glad you've been here to join me on the show. I hope that helps you. Stay tuned for some more shows. We're going to do all kinds of different programs. We're going to help you with sales tips, sales presentation, you name it. We are here for your success. Remember this. Today is God's gift to you. What you do with this day is your gift back to God. Thanks for joining us. Have a super fantastic day, and we'll see you next time on RMS Sales Training and Inspiration.